a homeowner hires a contractor without the use of a designer or an architect, there is a lot of question marks. Designers don't think differently because we're special. We think differently because we've done this hundreds of times. The biggest mindset shift that homeowners need to realize is that homeowners usually think that designing is just picking the pretty things. If you see me looking at my computer, it's because I just don't want to miss anything and I have lots of notes today. But I really want to walk you through kind of what you get when you hire a designer and the benefits of hiring a designer and just the differences. Even if this doesn't prompt you to hire a designer, it might help you just think more like a designer as you're going through your own either renovation or new build process. When designers are thinking through design, they're usually solving problems before the problems happen. So we tend to know the process pretty well because we've done this multiple times, and we want to have solutions for anything that might come up before it comes up so that it's never really a problem, right? Things that homeowners don't understand unless you've been through the process multiple times is the different stages of the process. Like after demo, when does electrical come in? When does plumbing come in? When do we need to decide certain things? And I guess even backtracking that, another big reason there's a benefit to hiring a designer is if you do it the right way, you'll have your designer have thought through this entire process, the design, and where the majority of things go and need to happen before the construction even starts. So I have a packet that I pass off to the contractor before demo is underway so that they already know what the end result is going to be. There's not demo, then figure out where things go, which a lot of times when a homeowner hires a contractor without the use of a designer or an architect, there is a lot of question marks about okay, we know what we kind of want it to look like, but there's going to be a lot of questions along the way of where do you want the light switches? Where do you want outlets to be? What kind of outlets do you want? Do you need USB? There's hundreds of thousands of questions that will come up. And while we might not get to every single detail because there are so many, we'll have done so much work ahead of time that it's not overwhelming when questions do come up in the process. There's always problems that arise, and I say problems kind of loosely because things come up and we just need to find solutions for them. And so to somebody that hasn't been through the process, it could be very overwhelming, but for your average contractor and designer, it's just something that needs to be solved. And so yes, sometimes that costs money, but because we've been through this multiple times, usually, even if we don't have a solution right away, we can critically think through what different solution options are, find what's most cost effective, if there's a cost involved with it, and it's just a lot smoother sailing than a homeowner who immediately is something's wrong, the nervous system starts firing and there's stress response, and then the thinking isn't as clear, and you don't even know what to think because you haven't been through the process before. So obviously a good contractor will help you through that and they'll have solutions for you, but there's so much that can be dealt with ahead of time. And also having a designer as kind of your mediator in the process, I always ask the contractor, come to me first, let me see if I have an answer for you, let me try to come up with these solutions for you so that I can at least, if nothing else, narrow down options for the homeowner so that it doesn't stress them out about the variety of things that could come out of it. It's just experience that creates the ease. So designers, we've seen the same challenges repeatedly. So a lot of times when certain challenges come up, there's just automatic, this is what we do. Other times it's maybe we've worked through a couple different solutions and done it a couple different ways before, so we have options that we can present, or even just talking through our experience with the contractor and their experience and coming up with the best solution through teamwork. There's just so much value in that experience. Reframing the value of an interior designer. So many people just think okay, I'm hiring an interior designer because I want someone to make my house pretty, and that is a lot of what we do, and that's the part that most designers love to do. But the reality is that you're purchasing experience, and depending on who you're hiring, that can be very invaluable. And so there's so much value that you get out of the person that you're hiring, the company that you're hiring. It's the same reason when you vet your contractors, you want to know someone has experience, that they have your best interests at heart, that they're going to come to you when there's a problem and not try to fix it without you knowing, that they're going to just be honest when things aren't going perfectly. There's just so many reasons, right, that you vet out a good contractor. Nobody wants to get taken advantage of. And so with hiring a designer, you can just hire someone to pick your finishes, and that's a great inexpensive way to still get a pretty well thought through design, like color, texture, pattern, and that kind of a thing. But if you're hiring full service interior designer to take you from before you even either break ground or open a wall all the way through to completion, what you're really getting is all their years of experience of, you know, that entire process, them being able to field questions for the contractor, you not having to stress about it, you getting really well thought out solutions to the problem before you even know that there's a problem, because the designer and the contractor are working together to help solve that for you. So then when they tell you about the problem, they're not just presenting you a problem, they already have solutions to present to you, which is way less stressful. So it saves time, it saves money. You're able to do the things that you need to do every day, focus on your work and your life. And then not only that, but designer really should be thinking about getting to know you. If you're hiring a full service designer, they should be, at least I do, really focus on your lifestyle and who you are personally and how your family functions personally, so that we can design, like before we ever get to anything pretty. And I might be jumping the gun. Yeah, what homeowners focus on too early. I get presentations from clients all the time before they hire me about, you know, showing me what they want and what they like and what they want to do. And it's almost always just color palette and finishes and Pinterest pictures and, you know, visually appealing things, maybe a little bit in layout as far as like, I want our bedrooms over here and kids' bedrooms over there and that kind of a thing. Sometimes there's like specialized needs, like our garage we want it to be a gym or things like that. But for the most part, it's like very visual. This is what I like the looks of. So it's our job as a designer to backtrack and take the client to the specifics of their life and figure out the flow and the function of the home before we ever get to picking out finishes. Like maybe you already know ahead of time you want marble counters, and that's great. But really, before we get to that point, we need to unpeel all the layers and see, like, okay, when you walk in the door, are you coming in through the garage most of the time? Do you come in through the front door? Even thinking through, like, okay, I have a bunch of boys that play hockey. Like, I need lockers that fit all their bags and maybe special ventilation system because boys stink. And these systems need to be thought through before we get to like the pretty stuff. Like, how much cubic square feet of storage space do we need? Like, how big do these lockers need to be for these boys? Where are they gonna go? Where do they bring their stuff in? Where's the most logical place to put it so they're not tracking everything through the house? There's so many different things that's individual to you and your lifestyle that sometimes you don't, like, you know happens, but you don't realize that you can optimize and really make your life function so much better through the systems and the processes that you put in place through the design of your home. It's incredible. And I watch like Dan Martell and a lot of those like YouTubers, but he has a book called Buy Back Your Time, and I've kind of read the Cliff Notes version basically. But just think through that. Like, the clients I'm designing for are busy, high functioning people, and the more I can save them 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there because they're not thinking through, you know, where they need to put things, or something's just not flowing right, so they're like going back and forth across their house all the time because the flow through their house isn't proper. Like, the more I can save them time, the happier they're going to be ultimately. So there's a lot of work on the front end that needs to happen before we ever get to the pretty stuff. Another thing that I often work with on clients and think through is just the health of their home. And when I talk to them about their lifestyle, a lot of times what will come up is they want gym space and they care about nutrition. And so some things that they don't realize is the materials that they use, and there's different things that they can do to make their home healthier for them. And I'll have a whole nother video I'm going to be doing on like having a healthy home, but those are other things that sometimes they don't think through. So like, if you want healthy insulation, like a wool insulation, that is going to increase the cost. And if a contractor doesn't know that ahead of time, the way that they're going to budget your home is going to be with their standard insulation. And so thinking through those things ahead of time so that you're getting the right budget, so that things don't spiral and that you have a clear idea and your contractor contractor has a clear idea of what you're needing, it's really important to tackle those systems and those specific needs before you ever get to like picking out the finishes. Another thing I like to talk about is like where Pinterest helps and where it doesn't. So many people, at least me, maybe it's just a millennial girl thing, I don't know, but I use Pinterest a lot. I use it for recipes, I use it for inspiration. Like, I'm not knocking Pinterest at all. I think it's a great resource. But when it comes to home design, really literally all it can do for you is just give you some design direction. Like, oh, I like this, I don't like that. Or, oh, this is like maybe similar layout to my living room. So you can kind of get some ideas of like what furniture layout would be for your living room that would work well. But it's hard for the average homeowner even to like dissect what they're seeing. So like visually they know that they like it, but they don't necessarily know what about it is that they like, other than maybe like pillow that they like, or you know, some fabrics or certain things like that, or paint color. But like how your eye moves through a space really tells a lot about how you feel in a space. So like not having walkways blocked, or like having a specific flow, or having versatility in the seating, or having like a really open kitchen versus a closed kitchen, like those things are super important. And if you have a designer working through those decisions with you, like when you go to Pinterest and you say you like something, we then need to like dissect what it is about those pictures that you're actually drawn to, and get rid of the things that you're not, to create your own special space that works for you, that is truly what you love. So Pinterest is great to get started. It's great to have overall vision, but like getting down to the nitty gritty, like you can give a Pinterest picture to a contractor and say, I like this, and they can probably get you 50% of the way there, give you similar textures and colors, but how it actually like functions and maybe the actual flow and feeling of the space might turn out differently, because they don't work through the decisions quite like a designer does. So I kind of touched on this already, but like something that a designer will notice when they walk into a home that homeowners or average, you know, people would recognize when they walk into the home is like the layout. So like when I mentioned it earlier, is like sometimes people put furniture that's too big for a space because they know that they want like comfy, cozy movie nights. And there is some balance to making that happen, but like if the furniture is blocking the entryway because that's like your only living room and it happens to be by the front door or whatever it is, like immediately someone's gonna not feel comfortable in that space. Even though you have a big comfy couch, they're gonna immediately feel shut out from the entry point of your home because there's furniture blocking them from coming in. And it's very like psychological and kind of crazy. But as designers, like when we walk into a space, we're immediately like picking apart whatever feeling it is that that space gives us. Like, how did it get there? So if it's positive things, a lot of times we'll want to like recreate that. That's inspiring to us as designers. So we think through like, oh my gosh, this just, you know, effortlessly flows for different like conversation spaces, or just the way that the textures were put together is just, there's so much depth and warmth to it. There's just ways that we as designers can dissect what we're seeing and feeling in order to recreate that for our clients, that clients will walk into a space and they'll know whether they like it or not, but they can't quite figure out why. And then like, so DIY comes up a lot, and like homeowners will do certain things themselves to save money. And to some degree, like I kind of started out DIY when I very first started. I was like painting my own kitchen cabinets and doing shiplap, and I was like really kind of like into crafting and stuff. So I made my own like pin boards, and I don't know, there's just a lot of things that I did DIY when I was young, and just, it wasn't even necessary. I didn't even realize at the time that I was going into interior design, but I just liked it. And so I wanted to do things to my home to make it the way that I wanted it. And so I don't ever want to knock DIY, but the reality is now having a business for 6.5 years and going through the process with other people, there's just a knowledge that I have now that as a DIYer I didn't have. There's tools that my contractors have that as a DIYer I didn't purchase. You know, I didn't purchase millions of dollars worth of tools. Like I had my little tool set and I had to make it work. And so I just wasn't able to do some things that like specialized craftsmen can do. And so the lack of precision, the lack of tools, the cost of trial and error. You can still save a lot of money doing DIY, and things can still turn out really great, especially if you're willing to put in the time and the effort to figure it out, to do it properly. But also, like, mistakes can be made and it can end up costing a lot of money. You have to redo things, and then I guess it just depends on, like, if your passion is in DIY, then do it. But if you're just doing it to save money, like, if you really don't have the money, then go for it. If you're just like penny pinching, it doesn't always actually end up saving you money, and so you just might want to think twice about it. And ultimately, hiring a designer, you just get a level of thought and creativity that you might not get on your own. I guess going back to the DIY thing, I am fully understanding that an interior designer is a luxury. Like, I am in a luxury service and there's really no way around it. Like, you can hire online for pretty inexpensive someone to just pick finishes for you, and that's great. Like, I would even recommend that if you can't afford a full service interior designer. But the reason why full service interior design is what it is because, like I mentioned earlier, like, you're buying the experience, the ease, the less stress, more creativity, things you would have never thought of. You're wanting someone that will design for your lifestyle and not just for that Pinterest picture that you like. You need somebody that's like really thinking through who you are. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but that's what you're purchasing. You're purchasing someone that's gonna make your daily life function optimally so that you can be the best, healthiest, most efficient person that you can be, and for your whole family. And so it reduces stress, like, forever, as long as you're in this space. And we change and things evolve, and we might need to change spaces down the line, but you're really going to have an optimally functioning home for you and your lifestyle when you hire a designer, because there's just so much depth to what we do and what we think about. It goes so far beyond just making your home pretty. And so I really wanted to go through this and kind of dispel maybe common myths about what designers do. And I know it's more out there now because of social media, and designers can't be as like protective over what they know anymore because there's just no secrets on the internet these days. And I like that. I like the transparency, but ultimately, you know, it is like a thing in the interior design world about like AI doing what interior designers do, and you can never recreate human experience without the human, and a computer will never be able to do that. And so you can get some level of design through AI, but you can't get the depth and care and true value of the human experience without a human. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it will help you think through, if you're going through a renovation or a new build, maybe think through a little differently how you're going to do that and the process of it. I have a renovation guide and other guides as well in my stand store if those are of interest to you. Like, my reno guide is 20 pages of prompts that will really help you think through the process and things that you need to think about as you're remodeling it. It's specific to remodeling, but honestly it would be great for a new build as well. It just takes you through like, what are the things I need to think about before we get into the renovation or to the build. And so pick that up in my stand store. Follow along for more of these awesome videos. I hope that you really enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, follow, whatever, all the things. Subscribe. I do Instagram too, so sorry if I get my verbiage mixed up, but I'm just super grateful to be here and I'm excited to see you next week.